Are you blindly giving me something?
For you.
Oh, that one?
An Elysian.
Ooh, can you drink that? Or are you...
Welcome to another episode of the American Beer Review Podcast.
Good times with good friends requires good beer. Lucky for us, we know how to pick all three.
We're a group of friends who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, giving us a jump start on our craft beer journey.
Join us today while Brian,
Alec,
And Chad.
review some beer, talk about beer topics, and whatever else comes up. We invite you to pour yourself a drink and hang out with us. Drinking Elysian beer fits into the fact that it was given to me, / it's what's available. That's how it fits for me.
Disclaimer, dear listener, Brian was given this against his will.
I'm trying to think of where I was. I think it's the Rainiers, where
Rainier's the baseball team.
Baseball
not
team,
the
yeah.
beer.
So the baseball team in Tacoma, minor league team for the Mariners. We did a end of the year party for my work where you can rent out this space along the third baseline.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah,
It's a pretty cool spot.
dude, it's so fun. I went to 5 games last year.
Okay.
Love it. If we end up moving to Tacoma, I'm gonna buy one of those season ticket things where you get to the 2 drinks for free or drinks for free.
Oh, there
one.
you go.
But Contact Haze, the Elysian is one of their go-tos.
Yeah.
So this Contact Haze by Elysian is gonna be my side beer, and I'll allow it because it was given to me. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm not I don't know. I feel bad. I don't hate Elysian. It's just that when there are independent craft beers available, I'm gonna pick those over that.
They're just that indie band that got popular in a major record deal.
Oh,
and now you can't listen to them
I
anymore.
would sell out so fast. I don't know how much of their deal was announced and what they actually made, but I will tell you that if I'm Ballast Point and they came to me and they're like, "Hey, we would like to buy your brewery," I'd be like, "Man, that sucks. I don't want you to buy my brewery. I love brewing. I love having this stuff. We're going to pay you $1.2 billion. Okay. Did you say with a B? Yeah.
Well,
I'm gone.
Didn't the lead brewer at both of those go on and then start their own brewery again?
Yeah. So actually, and that's why I feel kind of bad about this. So the Elysian guy, one of the main ones, he was at Elysian Fields, which is the Elysian right
By the stadium.
By Lumen Field. He went on.
I called it the stadium because it changes names every.
It is currently Lumen
year
Field.
and a half.
No, it's the Clink. I don't care.
Yeah, CenturyLink. He went on to do Cloudburst,
Sounds about right.
which is top notch. Yeah, he's making a mess.
I'm dealing with it. I'm with adult.
But Cloudburst, phenomenal brewery, and I think he had to sit out for some time.
Probably you have a non-compete or something like that.
Unless there's a new law they're trying to pass through our non-functional Congress, making non-compete clauses in the United States illegal. I think some people are getting non-compete clauses that listen, I work.
It depends on the payout. It should be a non-compete if you're getting under X amount of dollars.
Yeah, right. You're
because there are companies where you sign a non-compete
and you're making $30,000 a year
just to start working there.
Yeah,
you have a non-compete. A non-compete when you're selling out and getting paid. Hey, we're going to give you $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, and in exchange for that, you're signing a non-compete. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, there are companies where you cannot work in this industry for 5 years after you quit, and all you're doing is working production line.
Yeah,
no. I'm sure there was a good reason when non-competes were created, but
no, there wasn't.
No,
it protects the company who's buying.
Hey, Chad, do you know what the reason was?
As somebody who owns a company, I see the logic, but I also see the.
Do you know what the reason was?
How easy it is to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
To
it's
make
called
your workers
capitalism.
All right, so we don't get off
On
on a
that
totally
note.
socialist podcast.
Welcome to American Economy Review.
Welcome to We've been drinking beers all day and then decided we should probably do a podcast.
So
What?
in our last standalone review, we had a cucumber sour that Brian said was okay, but has an aversion to cucumber.
It was a good beer.
It wasn't. Thor and I
It
both
just-
loved it.
Listen, man, people can have good beers, and
It's just not your scene.
yeah,
But you
Different
said-
strokes for different folks, baby.
yeah.
But you said just maybe if it was a sour that wasn't cucumber and was something more like
A raspberry?
raspberry,
Tell me more.
you would be more interested in it. Let's pour these out.
So this is a raspberry sour from. I wanted to.
Chad picked this one up.
It is Lucky Envelope. I
Yeah.
thought it was.
And Brian, you were familiar with them?
Yeah, Lucky Envelope is a brewery in kind of North Seattle. They, if I remember correctly, are just they're actually no, they're in Ballard. So Ballard, for those of you outside of the Seattle area, is like a neighborhood of Seattle, which has, good lord, probably one of the highest like per capita brewery like spaces. Like it's massive. I'm going to tell you, they have way more breweries in Ballard than they do in all of Tulsa. And that is actually true.
There is no way.
Actually, it's not way more, but they do have more. There was over 60 last a year
60,
or two ago.
60 in Ballard.
No, there was over 60 in Seattle.
Okay.
But I think probably close to the same amount as we said. We said there was at least 10 in Tulsa. We were guessing maybe around 15.
With 15 to 20 that were in their top ranked.
Yeah, I think that there's probably close to that in Ballard. Ballard is known for like Reuben's, Stoop, some of those key breweries. There's a freaking Baleebreaker has a spot in Ballard now.
Yeah, but they're
So-
not a Ballard brewery.
Ooh, see,
They
but
have
are
a-
they? If they brew in Ballard, are they a Ballard brewery? They have a location in Ballard, so they are a Ballard brewery.
Okay, but
We're not getting into a ship of Theseus
So,
argument.
anyways.
Budweiser has a brewery in Washington. Is it a Washington brewery?
Yes,
Okay.
It
Okay.
brews in
okay,
Washington.
Okay, fine. Washington.
they're not an independent
Budweiser.
Washington brewery.
Budweiser Washington beer.
So Lucky Envelope is actually one of the few in the country that is an Asian-owned brewery.
Yeah, Chinese American.
Yeah, so they do some great beers around the Chinese New Year, which
Is what Lucky Envelope kind of ties into.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever the I forget when this is.
22nd of this month.
Okay, so
It's 21st or 22nd.
of January.
January.
So yeah, so they do some good breweries around that time. But so this is from Lucky Envelope. I went there years ago. It's been a long time, pre-pandemic. But it was a cool little spot that if you can make it part of your like Ballard brewery hopping, I definitely recommend it.
So I haven't tasted this yet. Juicy red raspberries blended with bright lactic acidity of a kettle sour base.
So going back to that, sorry to interrupt you, but the
No,
last
go ahead.
sour we talked about is different types. The cucumber one is a Berliner Weiss style sour.
Okay.
A kettle sour is souring it in a different way, and that like you're doing different things to get that sour flavoring. With the color is almost kind of orangey, like with maybe a red hint.
It says a pink hue, which
Yeah,
I would agree.
I could kind of see
Yeah.
that. Depends on like what light you're getting and using, but yeah, I could definitely see that.
I definitely see some pink in there.
I'm getting some berry, probably raspberry, like aroma, not strong. Like it's not overpowering.
So this
When was the last time you guys had rhubarb pie?
cannot say
It
that-
was last
that-
never.
I was gonna say,
That's the aroma I'm getting.
I don't know what rhubarb looks like.
Oh, bro, we used to have a rhubarb plants in my parents' backyard.
And I probably thought they were weeds.
Yeah, they're real big. So they have like a really long stem. It's almost like a
It's red celery.
yes,
Yeah.
with like then a big like leaf off the end of it.
So American Farming Review. We now know what
We're
rhubarb
hitting
looks like.
everything.
gotta
Can I see the can?
Diversify your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I see
Thanks,
the can?
Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah,
Clan.
sure. I'll pass it down. So we had the cucumber sour was a lot not tartar.
Yes.
Hit a little bit hard. This is a
Mhm.
lot smoother.
This is a
sour.
Agreed.
very subtle and smooth sour.
Mm-hmm.
Very earthy aromas. That's where I'm getting the rhubarb.
This is okay. I'm getting a little. Again, I don't know what rhubarb is, but this is a lot more of a gateway sour
Yes.
for a beer
Yeah.
drinker
Mhm.
than that cucumber sour.
It's not
was.
hitting as tart. It's not
Right.
hitting as like punchy
Mhm.
in the sour.
The-
It's the last one was honestly. I still think the last one was more subtle.
You think the last one was more subtle?
Oh no! It's like of a general sour and the stylings. There are some that are like punch you in the face sours. That one wasn't that much, and this is even more subtle. That this one is. This is good. Like I like this. This is
This is almost. Well, we're gonna turn it into the American wine
yes,
review
yes,
podcast,
yes.
but it's almost a rosé.
Yeah, yeah,
almost.
I was
feel.
almost giving it a Pinot Grigio.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's the very tart, light flavors. A great gateway beer for a wine enthusiast.
Yeah. Instead of rosé all day, just raspberry sour.
Very good.
Yeah, I like it. Again, nothing against the cucumber, but man, this is my jam. I'll be here for that. I'm jumping ahead. I'm doing it.
Actual fruit in your sour beer instead of
Putting this in my beer fridge.
whatever
Like this
cucumber's
is
considered.
So this one makes your beer fridge?
Yeah, it's a little boozier, which like
Five and a half isn't egregious.
no, not at all. But the last one was 4.1.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd take these. Like this is my like preferred style of sour, where it's just like that little hint, that little bit.
Mhm.
Especially at a 16-ounce can. I don't want punch me in the face repeatedly sours. I dig it. I like it. Sunny day. I want this.
Cool. Thanks for reviewing this, but this was our starter beer.
I don't care.
All right.
I like it.
No, very good. Very good. I like it.
Alec, we got him.
we got him hooked. All right. So topic today is beer games. So we've had decade and a half of drinking more than just
Don't age me, bro.
Let's just whatever.
Sounds good.
Yep. Of drinking, playing,
Yeah.
beer games. So topic is not drinking games in general. There's a ton of those with King's Cup and a whole plethora, but beer games specifically that we have played through either our career and then which ones are still around, which ones do you still play, and then beyond that a little bit is beer drinking adjacent games.
Okay, so first,
So like beer game. Or, no, go ahead.
I'm gonna pause for a second.
Yep.
Tell me more. So you talked about the difference between drinking games
Yes.
and beer games. So break that down a little more for me.
So like a drinking game would be you're watching
King's Cup is probably a good.
or you're watching a TV show, and anytime somebody says,
Oh, like watching those award shows,
"Yeah,
and anytime they like
do X, Y, and Z," and you can
they thank God, you gotta take a shot.
Yes.
right. So that's just a straight drinking game. I'm thinking more where beer is part of the actual game. So beer pong,
Okay.
flip cup,
Okay.
stump or hammerschlagen,
Yeah.
where it's
Is it Hammerschlagen or is it Nagelschlagen?
I don't know.
It's one of
I've
those
heard-
two.
I thought
Both ways.
Yeah. Okay.
You're either the nail or you're the hammer.
Be the hammer, I think.
Nail schlagen, hammer schlagen.
Okay, we'll come back to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, okay, well, no, let's get into these. So,
Yep.
beer specific ones. So, actually, I want to pause because cornhole
cornhole was
Drinking game?
Okay, so that
or
was
beer game.
so on the beer adjacent games.
Oh, okay.
So you
Yep,
can't.
yep.
So we have a rule among us is when we play beer pong, there's beer in the cups.
Except for that one time it was really windy.
Okay,
Or hot.
Oh my god, it was so hot.
I think we still played.
Well, we were in air
Well, we
conditioned.
went inside.
but yes.
No, we didn't because the wives were playing
No.
with us, and mine's gluten free and yours doesn't drink beer, so they
I
just got
just
to
drank
have
for
their.
her.
Oh, for us, she was drinking like cider. So she
Yeah.
just drank out of her cup.
But in the cup wasn't water.
I think it was.
Do not disparage my good name. when you play beer pong, there is beer in the cup,
Okay.
including the cat hair and
Ugh.
dust and everything that
You
came
gotta
off
have
of
it-
it that you didn't get off in the
You
dunk
gotta
cup.
have the dunk cup.
Dunk cup, but there's beer in there. So beer is integral to playing. If you're playing beer pong with no beer, like even if you're just not all right, so even if you're playing with water in the cups, the whole point in the game is you are drinking a beer every
Yes.
time somebody drains a cup.
Yes.
Whatever the rules are.
Yeah.
Same thing with flip cup.
Yeah.
Well, flip cup, if you're not putting beer in the cup, there's no point in playing flip cup. You're
There-
not slamming water and then
No,
flipping the
no,
cup.
you're not doing that. I have seen people take liberties with what they're putting because it's your own cup. Like you're the only one drinking that thing.
Correct.
I've seen people take some liberties and put some different things in there.
Like what?
Liquor.
Okay, well, you're insane. We played beer pong with my dad back when I was younger. We played with a bunch of old guys, and they put in like stouts.
Oh,
And they played beer pong with like a stout. Like after the game, they're wrecked. They're going
Yeah.
up against light beers. If
in beer pong. They were
beer
doing
pong. So,
What do you mean I got to play a second game? What? This is a tournament.
yeah, that's it.
Well, and so that goes to also with flip cup. There's different variations. I've seen some where it's a like one round and it's over.
right.
What we have taken to at tailgate is so you start. So like say it's 4-on-4. You do a round of that, and whichever team loses,
Okay.
you vote one person off. But you still have to match the same amount of cups as the other team.
Oh, then the losing team is just getting wrecked worse and worse every round.
Yes. So it can come down to it that if your team is terrible
You're drinking all 5 beers.
against a team of 5 people,
Oof. But again, integral to the game.
there has to be. I mean, it is. You could, I suppose, you could put like actually what I've probably seen most recently is seltzer in your flip cup.
Comparable.
Yeah,
Right?
and that's the thing is like that comes down to for some people it's a calorie thing or it's a I can't have beer thing.
Or it's a taste or whatever
Yeah,
preference
but in
thing.
general,
I mean, you might
I mean-
be putting a raspberry sour in your next flip
don't
cup.
tempt me.
Or-
But in general, at our tailgate, we are cracking cans of Rainier and running them across all those cups.
right.
Like that's the standard go-to, unless it's like, hey, I'm gluten-free or this literally will kill me, like that type of thing. So flip cup to me, beer game with some caveats of if you choose it. Beer pong, it's literally in the name.
Correct.
I've seen it before where I go to events and I was at what was it? Like some kind of festival and they had, not a beer festival, but they had giant trash cans with like basketballs out and they were set up like a giant, I forget the way they phrased it, but like a pong game.
Pong game, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I get it, but like, are we just training the youth?
Slippery slope.
Yeah, a little
There.
bit, right?
I may have bought a Christmas present for my brother and his family
Uh-oh.
that some company built that was like a 4-person game of beer pong. It was like everyone has the same color cups
Okay.
in front of them, but you throw a little ball into the cups to take it away.
Right.
They didn't label it as beer pong,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
but it is clearly beer pong.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my brother and his wife went,
Play with their children.
are you telling me we can play beer pong with my kids?
Right.
Your kid just thinks
Well,
it's a fun.
maybe.
Put
It's
the
just a
ball
fun
in the
game.
hole. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a fun
yeah.
game. Throw it in the hole.
We went to an arcade a few months ago with my kids, and one of the games was literally beer pong.
Oh,
They-
I've played that one.
Yeah, and they were trying it and throwing an underhand,
Yes.
and Uncle Alec showed up and wrecked them.
Yes.
And they're going, how are you so good at this game that we only just found out? I'm like, oh, children.
Yeah. So I was at a.
I've played this game blacked out.
There's a bar. There's a bar in Seattle that has it. And it
And a
is
bar
like-
makes sense. This
right,
is-
but it's still like you will have your own drink in your hand. So okay, let's talk about that with beer pong because we have played it at tailgates. We have played it at our annual Dudes Weekend trip.
Yep.
We have played it
Camping.
camping all sorts of times. beer pong is a go-to. We've played it like in people's dining rooms, played it in their kitchens.
Yes.
Garages.
yes.
I
But
played it in somebody's weird bathroom / bedroom.
But when you play them
Thanks,
there,
college.
it's easy to do the rule of beer in the cup.
Correct.
Where have I played it with you where beer was not allowed in the cup?
Did they make us do water in Vegas?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got pitchers.
But that makes sense because that would be just.
I don't think we put beer in the cups.
I have played in that exact same casino hotel with beer in the cups.
I don't remember actually
and
if they did or not. If they made us.
We had to do a no slap rule.
Yes.
Because
100%. You're gonna hit someone playing blackjack. Like
somebody sprayed beer all the way across.
That makes more sense. We did it. I still try and figure out where this bar is, but we did it at some random bar that's no longer there in Puyallup. And I drive Meridian sometimes, and I see these like little strip malls, and I'm like, I feel like one of these. I played the weird beer pong game here or something, right? Like, wasn't there one?
Rings a bell.
Not Meridian, but on Auburn Way South, where you can go buy all the cars you want. There was a hole in the wall bar there.
Jack's.
I have played beer pong
at Jack's. We played it. We played. We didn't play beer pong there. We played pool there a lot.
You and me?
Yeah, Ruben used to like to go there.
Jack's.
Yeah, down on Auburn Way, like.
No, I know where it's at. I drive by it every once in a while, but I don't remember ever setting foot inside of it.
Oh, I've been there a half dozen times at least.
Yeah, I've been there. I've walked from Jack's to my parents' house.
That's good.
When I lived there.
3-4
I've done
miles?
that walk of shame. It's like a mile.
No,
it's
a mile and a half.
No, that's much more than a mile.
It's more than a mile.
At 3 a.m., it's about a mile.
Well, you're time traveling, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but you and me are also the ones that walked 10 miles in Seattle to walk 1 mile.
We didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, no. But that is after a night of beer games.
That's how you burn it off and wake up in the morning.
Yeah, your night starts with beer games. It never ends with beer games because beer games happen, and then 4 hours later, you're finally going to bed.
There weren't beer games, but that was the benefit of what was then called the Pit and became Oddfellas in Auburn. We both lived. We were both living back at home.
By we, you mean
me and Alec, or me and Chad?
Yes.
I mean, you were.
But we had
your house is.
But it's a straight shot down Main Street.
It's a straight shot, like, and you're like,
that is probably a mile from me.
Almost a mile to my house.
Yes.
I take a right,
and then he's got like another like 3/4 of a mile,
Yeah.
and he's home. So,
if you miss that left, you're in the river.
Yeah. Other beer games though. So one of the ones we talked about earlier, Hammerschlagen or Nagelschlagen, depending on your terminology of it. And I don't know. It's Stump is my preferred. And I found a kind of surprising amount of people actually know that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it, to me, is one of the funniest and dumbest games.
Yes.
So for people who don't know,
explain the rules.
You get a stump. So find a tree. You want a certain diameter. Probably at least need but for space of doing it multiple times, you need
1.5 2 foot.
I was gonna say 1.5 minimum gives you some good space. But basically, each player holds a drink in their hand.
Yes.
Beer.
Yep.
More than likely. And then everybody starts a nail into the stump, and you can pick where it is. But everybody has a nail assigned to them. And you then, if it's the three of us playing, we each have a nail. There's one hammer.
Yes.
So if it's my turn, I hold the handle of the hammer.
Yep.
And I have to flip said hammer.
Full 360?
Yeah.
Minimum,
and so we're talking
minimum in the air.
Well, let's talk 360, not a sideways
Could do
spin.
it sideways.
Did we talk about that?
It's tricks.
Traditionally is
rotation.
Handle over,
handle
head,
spinning
back to
back to front, front to back.
Yep.
Catching the handle
and
wherever and no regripping.
In one fluid motion.
And then you have to hammer the nail.
Yes.
But you don't hammer
have
yours.
To strike a nail.
Yes, you attempt to strike a nail. And the idea is that how much of the nail I hammer in, if I aim at Chad's, and I hammer his nail in my one fantastic swing
Halfway.
he has to drink half of the drink that he's holding.
Correct.
Yes.
I do not know who thought of this, but we have spent plenty of time predominantly in the rain
Playing this game.
standing around a stump.
Yeah, we were supposed to have it out at the clam bake. We just didn't get around to it. 'Cause
And it was not great weather.
Yeah.
Your brother's terrible at this.
He cannot flip a hammer to save his life.
Atrocious.
My favorite rule in that entire game, though.
Spark?
So Sparks and tricks or tips.
Yes.
So
if
what's
and
Sparks
tricks.
again?
So Sparks is if you hit the nail hard enough or glance it so that it creates a spark, everybody around has to take a drink. And then tricks is if you do something beyond just flipping the hammer one time and hitting it, everybody has the option of recognizing
to toast you with a drink.
So
It's a tip.
It's a tip. That's what it is. It's a tip. So a reverse flip or a spin and flip or an under the leg or a behind the back. But my hands down favorite rule is because you're trying to drive in all of your opponent's nails
Instead of your own.
If you happen to drive in your own nail because you've been playing drinking games, you have to go to bed for the rest of the evening.
I forgot about that.
You are done for the night.
Yeah, you're shut down. You can't remember whose nail it is.
Yeah.
Time to go.
You lost track of it.
Doesn't matter if it's 1 in the afternoon.
And that's the one rule we've never enforced.
Oh, we got real close.
We've gotten close. We've never had to enforce it.
So the reason why we got close is that the finality of... So as you're hammering them in, if your nail gets hammered all the way in, you're done and you don't get to swing anymore. You don't get... So you
Correct.
basically...
Until the end of that round.
Yeah, and then you go in. But there is... there's some, like... specificity of how to determine
fingernail.
Yeah, can you fit a fingernail
all the way around?
All the way around. So if you get
around the head of the nail,
if you get a quarter of the head of the nail in, like if you angle that one side, you're out. Like so, if I just clip the edge of it, but then later it gets hammered all the way in, you can't. You're out. And so that's part of it. Is I think the person who came the closest, Cameron, to hammering their own nail in.
It's because he was swinging wildly and accidentally drove his own nail in sideways.
But survived by the fact that you could still fit the nail around it. And that is why, the only reason why we've not enforced the you have to go to bed rule. We have forced him to go to bed for drinking too much for other reasons, but
also it allowed us to win the game.
Well, this is
because
true.
we wanted him to play.
Yeah, it always gives you one to go for.
So those are beer games. We'll just move through beer adjacent games where beer is not. So if you're teaching,
could I bring up beer Jenga?
Okay.
We haven't really sat down and played it, but it's
been a while.
It's something we played in the past. We did it with other boozes, but I think like with the 2x4 Jengas,
the giant
showing up now as like games at bars.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw it, when we went out to the Iron Horse, OG
had one out there.
Brew Pub, they had it there. I always thought that
Clam Bake.
I always thought that was a fun one that you could, beer drinkers and non-beer drinkers could play.
So that's where I put that into the beer
adjacent. I was just going to say, yes.
So that one would be a beer adjacent game. So the beer drinking game, if you're training your children to play beer pong, which, sorry.
I mean, you should, because being good at beer pong sets you up for life.
Or
if you're in college and you're good at beer pong.
Okay, fine. Yeah. But flip cup. You don't want your...
There's no reason to be...
You don't want your 11-year-old to be good at flip cup.
You don't need... There's no...
Even though the water bottle toss is a thing.
Well, and there's a lot of videos, like even pre-TikTok, of people doing trick the ping pong ball into cup. Yes. Yeah. Like, okay, that's a fun little thing. To teach your child to slam their drink and flip a cup...
Because part of beer pong is being able to hold your booze.
Yes.
I was thinking, so beer adjacent games.
Yeah.
The giant Jenga, but also cornhole. I would put in that.
Yeah.
Or beanbag toss or
it depends on what you...
But only because cornhole has gone to... There's now Major League Cornhole.
I don't recognize it.
You don't recognize it?
No,
It's on ESPN The Ocho.
they don't have drinks in their hand.
Okay, so
well,
that's where
yeah.
I'm going is beer adjacent that then transcends, because darts used to not be a game that you
But
weren't.
that was a bar game.
But you weren't throwing unless you were balanced with a beer in your other hand.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And bowling, a similar one. You did not take kids to a bowling alley 30 years ago. Because a bowling alley was a place for degenerates to go and drink beer and hang out with their buddies. And now it is a kid's birthday party, and we put bumpers on either side.
I was in a bowling league for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was a drunk degenerate those 3 years.
Perfect.
You cannot bowl sober. I don't care.
Right?
I don't care.
That's one of those
There were
games
people
too.
there were people who bowled sober, but they had no fun.
And they smoked you.
Yes. Yeah, they're like, I bowled a 280.
Because it was.
Dude, I bowled a 140. I can't remember.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Aging myself, but like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, one of the guys on like the pro dart league was sober. So he didn't drink. And all of the competitors were like making fun of him and whatever.
But he won.
But I think he didn't actually win. But he was very competitive.
Yeah.
But it's just
There are certain sports
right.
where athletics aren't the pinnacle of perfection. Darts is one of them, because I watched there was recently like two guys going, and like they had a amazing run of perfect darts.
Mm-hmm.
Fat bastards.
Well,
Fat unathletic bastards.
To me,
like if you
wanna
got
talk, if you want to talk beer adjacent games,
curling,
for me, golf.
yeah, I was about to say John Daly.
Because here's the thing, though,
epitomizes that.
I don't golf. I have I think I borrowed it from my dad, a hand-me-down set of clubs for the 1 day a year that I go golfing.
I had a set of
But
clubs you can have.
Here are my stipulations for going golfing. Is it sunny? Is it warm? Do I get to drink?
So golf could very well be I wouldn't say beer adjacent, but definitely drinking adjacent. And I know this for a fact because all three of my bags have a waterproof
Yes.
like a cooler bag? Yeah.
built into them. And they aren't like advertised as, oh, this is your drinking bag. No, this is your waterproof bag that just so happens to fit a 6-pack of beer.
You put your wet towel in there.
Right?
I bought my brother for his Christmas gift. He asked for
Your brother-in-law.
yes, a cooler bag that gets attached to his golf bag.
Oh, there you go, like an extra one.
Yeah. So, and as my treat to him, I bought him this cooler bag and then filled it with beers.
So the trick is you figure out what beers the beer cart girl is
100%,
selling,
100%.
and then you preload your bag.
So
You go, well, I got this from the beer girl last time she was around.
the place where I have gone. So as I was a teacher, and we would get out early on the last day of school, and collections of the staff would go golfing. The last couple of years, we have gone to a golf course that we have spent many a time driving around a golf cart, but not
Right.
actually on the golf course. And the first year, I got the brand of the beer correct.
Oh,
I didn't get the style of serving.
right. You got twist tops instead of
No, it's opposite.
Okay.
They serve the twist tops, which actually makes a ton of sense.
Yes.
For like a golf course to do the twist tops. They serve the twist tops. I bought the regular teeners.
So when my brother and I would still go, one of us gets there early,
Scopes it out.
scopes it out, and then the second person
Yeah.
stops at the gas station on the way there.
100%.
So yeah, beer games versus beer adjacent games, kind of
Okay.
fun. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Now that we said it,
I like it. Let's go.
now that we talked about it, I would like to submit golf
As a beer adjacent
as
game?
a beer game.
No.
Because I have not gone on a golf trip, a non-solo golf trip, without somebody having a beer in their bag or buying something off the beer cart when it comes by.
But does that include just yourself? Because
No.
I golf with a bunch of squares who won't drink while they
There's a
golf.
lot of people who take that game too
They also
seriously.
keep score.
Okay,
Bro.
so all right,
It's overrated.
but the fact that enough golf courses. I've gone to enough golf courses, and they all have beer carts running around.
Agreed.
Okay.
The fact that they know you need beer while you're playing, that they're
You know what?
taking the time out to run beer to you.
I'm
Some of them don't run it conveniently enough.
well, no. They could always have two
because
or three
they don't
beer
have
carts.
they don't have enough people golfing.
But they usually. So if you go on 18, there's always someplace at the turn that has it.
Yeah,
There's
You can
almost
get loaded.
always
You can
someplace
get
at the
loaded up
turn.
with beer.
because even
On the
ours,
first hole, on the ninth.
the one we go
hole,
to
or
is
any
technically
hole.
only a 9-hole, but you just double it and
At the
hit a
turn.
different thing.
Yeah.
And the turn, there's a bar. There's a
Yes.
restaurant.
Both of them
bar.
I go to. Yeah. That's
You were encouraged to buy beer or spirits
But I
while
just-
you were
okay.
golfing.
No. So I now back Thor on this
No.
because throwback to several episodes ago. Where is the open container allowed? On the entire golf course.
Yeah.
No one looks at you
Yeah.
sideways if you are drinking a beer, and really you're nowhere else than the middle of a park. I mean, you're in a park that you paid to get there, and in a lot of the golf courses that I play at, you're basically in a neighborhood.
True.
So I am driving a golf course or a golf cart with an open beer. I mean, I'm riding in a golf
Yeah.
cart with an open beer.
I've shotgunned a beer while I've been driving a golf cart.
Riding
Okay,
riding in a golf cart.
No, I was driving. I don't care. I'm shameless.
Okay.
It is wild, wild west out there.
we have a friend who
Golf is a beer game.
goes with us every year, and she does not golf.
She just drives the cart
She just
or
no,
rides in the cart.
She
and-
just rides in the cart and drinks beer with us. She went to Wazoo. I still maintain that it's not a beer game,
because you can play it without.
and there are plenty of people to do. I think people who really want to play that game are mostly not. I see a lot of people who are not actively drinking while doing it.
They probably like to run marathons too.
Well, as my son starts golf lessons in the spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm hoping he
He does it. It's not a beer
he's
game.
skipping the beer game part. Of it.
I'm trying to think of just any other
Okay.
any other last like quarters to me.
I want to stretch it further,
Oh,
but
good
But
Lord.
you guys keep it
Okay,
within topic.
I'm gonna
first.
contain you.
I'm going to give you guys one more chance to keep it in topic, then I'm
Okay.
going to blow this bitch wide open.
All right.
Oh, good Lord.
No. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
Baseball is a beer game.
Depending on which position you're playing.
No, do you know what it is?
Any of them.
Beer league.
Beer league softball.
Okay.
It's literally in the name. Baseball itself, and here's the thing of why I will say baseball is not a beer game. Baseball watching is
Beer
a
game.
beer game. I don't know that the active players in the Major League Baseball are having drinks
No, they were
before
on
their game.
amphetamines.
They
up
were
until just like a decade ago.
So no, I'm gonna go with no, not a beer game. But if you're breaking it open to that, like, you're talking like,
So rec softball, beer game,
yes,
but MLB not a beer game.
yes, beer league hockey.
I'm sure there is
Oof.
not a cooler of beer sitting in that clubhouse.
Oh yeah, but they're not having it before the game.
There's a lot of
No,
them, there's
because the MLB is cracking down
there's a
on
lot
that.
of them that aren't allowed to have beer in the clubhouse. Like there was a couple teams last season during the playoffs that got in trouble for having
Oh.
champagne in the clubhouse afterwards because it's not allowed.
on non. They always celebrate with champagne.
I don't remember the state, but it was
Pay
like
the fine,
Well,
get 'em
that's
out.
exactly what happened. But it was kind of a big deal. They're going, you guys
like-
just busted them for
it's like-
winning.
Finding teams for the fans rushing the field.
Show me. So, baseball is a sport where you spend almost 8 months a year on the road 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
That sport is only held together by sitting around and having beer with your
Yes,
teammates.
But the game is not like I play cornhole with, which also I was gonna say, quick side note, depending on how early you're tailgating.
You play cornhole sober?
No, but I start with a mimosa, not a beer.
It's
That's why I say like beer.
and I put
beer
it as a beer.
game-ish.
I put it as a beer adjacent game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, but my point is like, The only times I've played cornhole without a beer are places where they bring in cornhole boards and like beer is not allowed. But I will still smoke you in a cornhole game for the most part. But baseball, I'm going to go back to Alec's thing. As my son starts T-ball in the spring, I don't think they're like chugging a beer every time they go past a base.
But you may have a beer in the stands.
Not in a kid's baseball game. I have been told it's not allowed.
Oh, because I'm sure you and the other dads aren't going to be sitting behind somebody's truck with a bunch of red Solo cups going, hey, have a little bit of this.
Chad, I pride myself on not getting to know other people, so do not put that on me.
It doesn't matter. I watched people play baseball at a pretty high level. There's beer at every level of every game.
I just
all the way up.
I just don't think it's a. I don't think it's a beer
majors.
game. I don't think it's a beer game, but I get what you're saying.
Yes, it is. I will say it's not a beer game. I've been stretching the topic.
Yeah,
but that as American sports go, I think baseball is the most ingrained with beer from bottom to top than any other.
Okay. Yeah. There, I agree. Because if I'm going to play, don't anymore because I'm old and don't want to, I have to work on Monday. Pick up football.
Oh.
I'm not drinking beers and playing pickup football. Pick up basketball. I'm not drinking beers and playing a game of pickup basketball. I can ice skate barely, but if you gave me beers, I don't even think I could ice skate, much less play beer league hockey. But I didn't grow up on them.
I know people who play beer league hockey, and usually it's like maybe a beer before, but it's mostly like
after.
The beer. It's the after is like the.
But if you were like, hey, we got to pick up a softball game, I'm like, I don't know. There's going to be a case of beer in the dugout. All right, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a beer game, but it's a very, very beer adjacent game, maybe.
Okay, last call. Any other beer games?
Or beer game thoughts before I start pouring these out?
I feel like there's others that we're just missing.
I know there's others,
you guys
but
brainstorm and I'll pour here.
But I think those others are designed to get you drunk, and I think
that's why
we're appreciating more now are games that
that involve drinking, not the drinking games.
Drinking
skill.
and
games of skill, not just
drinking,
randomness.
skill, and hanging out. We're not worried about rapid fire drinking.
No.
Like I need to burn 2 hours. I want to sit and play some beer pong and BS with the boys.
That's why I'm not including like quarters.
Yes,
quarters is a drinking game.
Yes,
like it's not a beer game. Darts is more a beer adjacent game that you're sitting around having a pitcher with your buddies or doing that sort of thing. Like those types of stuff. I feel like for actual beer games, man, I try to think through the games that we have done or the things that we have tried to figure out to make it where they can get the how do I say this, like beer as a part of it. Like we play darts and it's a beer game.
Sometimes. It usually we're drinking when we play it, but it's not necessarily. I don't know. We're playing it while we're drinking, but we're not.
But it's not a beer game.
You're not drinking for points.
Yeah, I got you. So,
we will move on today into today's actual beer review.
Yeah, I think time permits.
Yeah, I'm pumped about this.
I think we're about there. So,
can we take a quick pause? Our social guy needs to take a picture of said beer.
That's not a bad idea. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I'm super pumped for this review.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was the second time I opened my big mouth and promised that I would bring a beer to review. That was a super limited seasonal run that I then had to spend significant amount of time to track down. So I found a can of this beer, driving around to 3 or 4 different stores that said they had it, and it was sold out already. So,
did I get some poured here? Or?
Yeah, I got you poured in there.
There we go. Thank you.
So this is Boundary Bay's, my favorite brewery, my first love with their Scotch Ale.
Outside of Scotch Ale.
No. So Boundary Bay, first love as far as
breweries
go.
like craft breweries and being
but the Boundary Bay Scotch.
Oh,
you put above all others.
So this is their winter seasonal. This is their Cabin Fever. So listed as a winter ale on their website, but also like a winter warmer is what it's classified as. So 8.5 or I had 8.5 on their website. The can here says 9.
Yeah.
So it fluctuates seasonally.
Yeah, it's a little
bit.
It's a little boozy.
More than a little boozy. Beer Advocate's got it at an 89. So
really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's Cabin Fever is one of those we've talked before of like how you certain beers set the kind of the mood or the
Standard or
tone
whatever,
for like seasons. Like certain beers you were like, okay, it's this season because a couple of frequent winter beers that I have where it's like, all right, I'm going to look for at least a can of that every year. Cabin Fever's one of them.
Absolutely.
I actually, we used to kind of like trade, I felt like bottles of them where we would try to, one of us would end up in Bellingham around wintertime and to be like, all right, I'm going to grab a couple of bottles and bring them back. They now, in the last few years, have canned them. You get them in 6-packs. I don't know why I wasn't around and finding it this year.
I missed it this year too.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's usually not one that I skip on, and especially since we just started re-recording this podcast and have been talking about Boundary Bay more than we have in the last like 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
I think it would have like hit my radar a little sooner.
Yeah, I think part of it. I have extended family that live up in that area, and this year when we were up there, I got a little sick, and so I didn't go do my normal like brewery hopping.
Oh.
And so like at least then part of it I can get out and maybe it's I grab a draft of it or something like that. But
because we go up there, don't have family up there, but went to school in Bellingham, so my wife and I will take the kids up there usually 2-3 times a year, just to go hang out in the town. And the Boundary Bay brewery and like restaurant is usually one of our stops. So we'll do either lunch or dinner there while we're up there, and then I almost always leave there with
something,
a handful of either bottles or a 6-pack or something.
Yes.
But we go in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
So the Cabin Fever is not necessarily
is not available
during that time. So it's been a number of years since I've actually had it.
Yeah, I would have to look and see, but it does tend to be the one that I try to go to. I think actually, I forgot, talking about my brother-in-law and his golf bag of beers.
This is one of the ones you put in there?
I put a Cabin Fever in there.
Let me taste it. It's been a little bit. I don't know that I'm drinking a Cabin Fever on the golf course.
Oh, God, no. I bought him beers that he's going to drink now. He's
It's Christmas, and
he's not golfing till it's nice weather, but no, I would not. And listen, if you're talking golf beers, a 9% beer is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But a 9% beer as a winter warmer and in Cabin Fever is it's a delight.
All right, I'm going to take my first taste in a little bit.
It's got a good, like, kind of cocoa-y, right? Like, it's smooth. There's no boozy bite to it.
No, I forgot how good this beer was.
Right? It's a little creamy. Got some like cocoa flavoring to it. Thor, you have it in a glass. We're drinking out of aluminum, but you have it in a clear glass. It is not stout or portery. It's more of a brown, like winter warmer style.
It's an ale.
Yeah. So you get that dark brown,
Exactly.
kind of reddish ale coloring, and man, it is solid. It's just a good, nice winter beer. This is one that I would bring to like Christmas parties to share and distribute because especially now that it's in 6-packs, I'm not drinking a whole 6-pack on my own. Not in a sitting or a day, but like if you can catch one early in the season, grab a 6-pack, like to have, like that's fine.
Well, the awesome thing about them being in 6-packs, and they've been in 6-packs for a few years, is
like early pandemic or just before it. I think.
Yeah, so this is a 12-ounce can. If I'm having a 12-ounce can of this, perfect. That's about perfect. When I started drinking them, they were in 22s.
Yes.
Or you'd get a growler.
Yeah.
And a 22 of this or God forbid,
If you're not
growler.
sharing it,
If you're not sharing it,
it's a little much.
it's a little much to keep for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You bought it because it was only available at that certain time.
Correct.
But it definitely was like, me sitting and drinking a whole 22 of this is like, that's my drink for the night.
Well, and I think I stumbled on this. Oof, I want to go in the Wayback Machine. It would be late 2005, early 2006 when I first had it.
Okay.
And I had it because my dad was in town buying my roommates and I dinner. So we went to Boundary Bay, and since he was picking up the tab,
You're like, oh, I'll buy the expensive beer.
well, so I had already found their Scotch ale.
Yeah.
Right. So I already had the affinity for that. But if somebody else is buying an extra round,
Oh, yeah.
I'll get something weird, or I may have even had him buy me a 22 to take home. And then
That age, you probably
what is-
saw the ABV and were like, I'll take
Could've been.
that one.
Could have been. I mean, he's paying for it. But yes, fantastic. I've missed it for several seasons. Thor has been back and forth on whether or not beers have had too much booze, not enough booze, what the balance is on it. What are your thoughts on this one?
I've let you two wax poetic.
That's the two Bellingham-loving
Right.
gentlemen over
And
here.
this is my first time.
This is your
You've
first
never
time
had it?
cabin fever? Oh man, I should have
I've-
brought you
I've-
your own can.
Oh,
I've had the Scotch ale. I've
Okay.
had winter warmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for this.
So I'm gonna say up front. I'm getting gingerbread. I baked a whole lot of gingerbread cookies this winter.
Okay.
I'm getting gingerbread aromas.
Okay, I can see
and
that.
Then
Oh, good lord.
I just did the
Yeah, you're getting
little
intense.
swish. Oh, it's malty, it's hoppy. There's spices, but then that's it. It's just, hey, bitch, 9%. Winter's here. Deal with it. I love it. Like what you guys said, in a 12, perfect, done.
Yep.
I start my night with this, and then I can finish with some lighter fare.
You could do worse. I mean, if you're getting stuck in a snowstorm and you got a 6-pack of this,
Yeah,
and maybe something light to balance it, like you're good for a few
set.
days.
You're set.
Yeah. The other thing I really like. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not to tread over you guys
No,
like I
you're
did
good.
the last few episodes. This is what I want in a winter warmer.
Mhm.
It's not over the top with spices. It's not relatively, like they say on the can, it's a deceptive 9. It is a
Yes.
very
Mhm.
deceptive
Yeah.
9. After you, like the first few sips, you don't really feel it. Then that multiplicative, more of the malt, more of that subtle hops comes out, that booze hits. So I think by the time you get towards the end of that first 12 ounces,
Right.
you're really going to appreciate the beer. So it's not one of those ones where sometimes there's a beer like the first sip, bang,
Oh yeah.
bang, I love it. Here's what we have to offer in this beer. This is one of those ones you have to sit back, relax, allow yourself to enjoy the beer, sit in the moment, which I think is what a winter warmer should
It's
do.
supposed to be,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're supposed to be sitting down and relaxing because it's freezing cold outside. It's pissing rain because we're in the Northwest. It's miserable. You should be warm and comfortable inside your house and drunk, which is what cabin fever will do.
Right.
The beer and the psychological malady that is called cabin fever.
I think it's the problem of having beers like this that when you find other ones that are winter beers,
This is
I judge them against this type of thing.
this is the benchmark that we're holding them against you.
And honestly, the two winter warmer beers that I place at the top of my like preferred style of this beer are both from Bellingham.
this one and what else?
Kitten Mittens
Okay.
from Kolschen.
Yeah. I could see that.
And they are just like, they're perfect. Those are the premier to me stylings of winter warmers, where they are boozy. I think Thor placed it right. Like, they're not overly spiced, but you get this good malt body.
Mhm.
It's filling, but not like overdone, and it just is. Man, I will take winter warmers over like winter stouts and imperial stouts in this time of year. Like, game on, I'm in for it. I'm here for all of it. But the Kitten Mittens and Cabin Fever especially, it's very disappointing that we didn't make it sooner than this to get that beer.
I would also like to say, since these folks have been in Bellingham, they understand what winters are for the Northwest.
Dude, and they
Because-
took a winter this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even over yet.
No.
Yeah, they're up there towards the border with Canada, and they get a little more cooler, more snow, but they understand that a Northwest winter is not so much cold, dry air as it's 45 degrees out today, but it's been raining for the last 3 days.
Piss and rain.
The sun just came out. There's a rainbow outside, but you can see the rain clouds outside. That is what a Northwest winter is. So what you need is something with some ABV, something with some malt. Like, you drink this, it sticks to your ribs.
It warms my body when the sun doesn't.
Yeah, because
there you go.
You're probably going to be drinking this like, I don't know about you guys, but most Northwest people, we're used to going outside doing yard work in the rain.
Yeah.
So like on a day like today, if we weren't sitting down and recording the podcast, I'd be up on a ladder in the rain,
taking down Christmas lights.
I
noticed that on the way in.
Yeah, mine are still up.
Mine are still up too.
Hey, you know what? I'm feeling festive, bitch. Those lights are staying on.
Hey, man.
But
I
yeah.
unplugged them, but they're still on the front of my house.
If I would have had a Cabin Fever,
maybe
I might feel festive enough to get out and go get those done.
I was going to unplug them after the podcast, but you know what?
Let's let it ride.
Let it rip.
Oh, man.
So that, yeah, those
I'm
are kind
pissed.
of, these are kind of my feelings. It's a seasonal for me.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a seasonal beer. It's a winter warmer.
Yeah.
I don't need this in the middle of summer, but
no.
Goddamn, I'm glad you guys introduced me to this.
There you go.
Because I love it. I didn't realize.
I didn't realize you didn't have it.
Because you said, oh, hey, I found a place they had a single.
Yeah.
I found myself a secret place that carries 6-packs.
That's right. You said they might have this.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not giving it to the world. I'm keeping it for myself.
Hey, listen, if you get out there and they have a 6-pack, I will buy a couple off you.
I might take a detour out there.
Oh, like I'm not going to grab 4 6-packs for my boys.
Yeah, for me, I'm disappointed it didn't come into my fridge this year. It's a failure on my part.
Right.
But to me, this is a go-to every year that I'm going to try and put it into my rotation. I'm going to put it in. I mean, it's in my inside fridge. It's available to me. I may have one a day when I'm sitting and having it, but man.
This is a savor, not a crush.
That was the one thing about the 22s is that you almost like put the rest of the bottle back in the fridge because you just know, like, I got time. I'm sitting here for a while. I'm enjoying it. Like,
oh yeah. It's because it's definitely the inverse of our like the Gosas or like the summer sipping beers.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely. Oh, but we've all finished our beers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's a winter sipper.
Mm-hmm.
And I go inside fridge all day too, seasonally.
Yeah.
And more than anything, and again, I can't believe that I have known you drinking beer for 20 years, or not quite 20 years, and I have not introduced this beer.
I know.
So I need to have it in my inside fridge just so that I can hand it out. My only reservation on handing it out would be, can I find enough to have some for myself and also hand it out?
You got to start earlier. We started too late.
We did
start too late.
And what I got to give this beer, so after my first initial taste of it, it pairs exceptionally well with the Scotch ale.
Okay.
So you can have your 6 or Scotch ales, which are easy to find.
Because those are year
But
round.
then,
Yes.
year round. So you can have those backing up this guy. So you can have one of these or split one of these, but then pop over the Scotch ale and get some of the.
Oh, you're getting boozy.
But you can get some of that similar flavor profile.
Yep.
Without blowing your wad on crushing all of this seasonal.
So
delicious
Scotch ale is
beer.
almost like a non-seasonal version.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean,
Yeah.
it came first.
In
and this is-
my head, just of only having the Scotch ale, like literally Boundary Bay beer
it's just the Scotch
in
ale
my
for you.
world is Scotch ale, and now it's a Scotch ale and cabin fever.
You know, I'm gonna put this on the pod real quick.
Okay.
We might run into some issues with Dude's Weekend this year.
Yes.
I know of a couple pretty good Airbnbs up in Bellingham. Maybe we just got to do a Bellingham trip.
We go 2-3 times a year.
We are up there all the time, so maybe
gotta-
off the pod, let's talk about
Coordinating a little trip. Because up there, you talk about, man, we keep bringing this up. If Tulsa has 10, 15 breweries
I'm telling you,
per
capita?
Bellingham doesn't have that many. They'll be really close.
2 or 3 have opened.
Yeah.
2 or 3 new ones have opened in the
But-
last month.
Per capita, they are
Dude.
over-indexed on
Love it.
great craft.
I'm here for it.
There you go. And we got a
how-
designated driver the entire time.
Hey boys, how long was the drive to Bellingham?
From here,
An hour
Yeah.
and a half, 2 hours.
two,
the outside.
2.5 on the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
I
I gotta go find some beer
Yeah,
and
something
maybe
else.
plan a trip.
Follow up on. We were going to close out with one list. Thor, I think you got it pulled up there, right? Is it worth burning through real quick?
Or we save it for another time.
You know what? I think based on the time we spent today, loving up on Boundary Bay,
Yeah,
I think that's a really good episode.
let's end it.
If you've got a beer that will blow Thor's mind as much as this did,
Yes,
let us know.
Exactly.
We will
That-
track
you know
it
what?
down.
That's what I'm here for. Is
Hey,
like let's-
hashtag blow Thor's mind.
or
send us
somebody's,
beer.
Like let's
Send us beer ideas to review on this podcast.
Let's figure it out.
Sounds good. Well, like Brian mentioned, our glasses are empty. We're going to track down some more beers.
I need more beer.
Yeah, hopefully yours are too, and we will see you next time. You never watched Point Break?
Imperial Red Ale. No.
I've seen it once. No. Save this for the podcast. When we can you just grab me any like generic IPA or something or other?
I got an NA West Coast IPA in my bag too.
I got something for you.
We are evolved creatures now. If you've enjoyed what you just heard, make sure you subscribe to get the new episodes when they drop, and don't forget to leave us a review. If you want to know what we're drinking when we're not on the pod, you can follow us on social media at ABR Review, and we'd love to hear from you with any beer suggestions for us to review. Cheers.